Hello and welcome to this full moon forecast for the full moon in Scorpio on May 12th, 2025. I am your astrologer, Cawnawyn Moore. So today we're going to take a look at the chart for this full moon. I'll go ahead and pull that up. These videos are really meant to be very instructional on how to do some basic reading of the chart, as well as to give you a forecast of the full moon and some of the energy we might expect. And so if you're learning astrology, I hope that you're learning along with me, kind of getting some basics on how to start interpreting a chart, because I typically do these without much preparation. I just look at what jumps out at me, and this is how I would go about reading a client's chart, let alone a full moon or any transit chart. Just a reminder, all of these charts that I do for these forecasts are in Aries rising. So this is not the house structure. We're not going to be talking about houses today. You can cast this chart for this time. So this is 9:56 a.m. Pacific time, wherever your time zone is. And you should get a chart with the positions being the same, but the house structure will look different depending on where you are in the world. So you can use that to gauge how this is going to affect your community, because then you can start taking the interpretation of the houses into effect. Also, if you were to take this time, convert it to your time zone, and place that chart in a bi-wheel, so the transits are on the outside, your natal chart on the inside, or somebody else's chart, you can see how this full moon in Scorpio is affecting the inside chart, and so how it might be affecting you. So where I want to ask you, where is 22 degrees of Scorpio in your chart? Here's our moon right here at 22 degrees of Scorpio in an opposition to the sun in Taurus at 22 degrees. This opposition, this symbol right here, is what makes up a full moon, when the sun and the moon are opposing in a chart, because we are on Earth are standing here between the sun and the moon. So if you've ever wondered why this works, this is why this works. This is how it's laid out in the chart. And wherever you are on Earth, you are standing at the center of this chart. So 22 degrees of Scorpio, where do you have that? Because that is going to be the moon's influence. And an opposition is typically going to mean that we are met with relationships where we are either playing out the archetype of this Scorpio moon or the archetype of the Taurus sun. Or perhaps we're seeing these two archetypes in relationship to each other in front of us in community. How might this be playing out? Well, what does that mean exactly, right? So our 22 degree Scorpio moon, the Scorpio moon is a tricky one. In historical context, we look at the moon being in its fall in Scorpio. Why? Because Scorpio is guarded. So the moon is operating in a state where it puts its walls up. It's very protective. It's extremely private. It's not going to allow itself to really relax, frankly, and find a state of security, because it's kind of looking out to make sure that it's not going to be anybody's victim. And so if you have a Scorpio moon natally, right, it might be very hard for you to really expose your feelings. That doesn't mean you're not emotional, you're not cut off, but finding the safety, the security, and being able to openly express those emotions might be really difficult for you. This, of course, is going to depend on somebody's chart. So the moon is in a bit of a hard spot with Scorpio, and it's opposing the sun in Taurus. Now, the sun in Taurus, this whole Taurus season right now, right, we are standing in the midst of a fixed Earth season. We're in the middle of spring. If you're up in the northern hemisphere, we're experiencing the joys of Taurus season. Taurus aims to bring with it security, stability, a groundedness, a working hard toward building and cultivating what? Beauty. Why? Because Taurus is ruled by Venus, the goddess of attraction. So if we look actually where Venus is, because we know Venus is going to be ruling over our sun's expression, she is up here newly entering Aries, and she's just about cleared her retrograde shadow. So if you've been feeling like since about May 1st, when many of the planets finally cleared their retrograde shadow, that things are actually moving forward in your life, there's no small reason for that. All of the planets are moving direct except for Pluto right now. But Venus is clearing her shadow. She's back in fiery Aries. She's ready to go after what she wants and go after her desires with, frankly, no regard for the consequences, because Venus says, I want, I'm hungry, I'm aching, and I'm trying to figure out who I am. I am being the key word for Aries here. So even though we have this Taurus sun, it's being fueled by this very passionate Aries Venus, which is an interesting thing, because Aries, if we go take one step further, right, there's lots of layers to astrology here. We go one step further, Aries is ruled by Mars. Guess what else is being ruled by Mars right now? The moon in Scorpio. So this is why planetary rulers are so important. If we start peeling back the layers here, we see that not only is our sun, through a couple different connections, is ruled by Mars, but our moon is also ruled by Mars. So what's Mars doing? Mars is down here in Leo in a fire sign as well. In fact, it would be considered in a trine. Here's our trine symbol to Venus. Well, that's rather nice. So we have this harmonious energy kind of in the undercurrent of this moon. And really what I see here is a lot of fire energy. So this is new beginning energy where we're setting off the spark, where we have creativity, we have passion, we have desire, we are aiming for, there's a drive here. And not only is there a drive, but there's an individual spirit here that is waiting to be awakened. So Mars being in Leo is going to fuel and propel this individual state of I create, I am, I'm doing, I'm making, because that's what Leo wants to do, and it wants to share. Ultimately, Leo is very generous. So it wants to share its feelings, it wants to share its ideas. And then up here with Venus being in Aries, it's saying, I meet you, I see you, Mars, and I'm working in tandem with you to make these desires come true. What a fiery moon and sun, even though they are actually in earth and water. What's interesting here is we have earth, water, and fire all well represented with this full moon. So what are we missing? We're missing air, except we're not really missing air, because now if we look at Scorpio moon for a moment, Mars is considered the traditional ruler of Scorpio. And if we look at the modern ruler of Scorpio, because we've discovered a few planets since all of our traditional rulers were discovered and incorporated into astrology, Scorpio's modern ruler is considered to be Pluto. And here's Pluto up here in Aquarius. Now finally out of that super tense, like gridlocked opposition that with Mars that we've had for many, many months. If you look back at all the last few months of full moons, I know I've covered that opposition pretty heavily. So Pluto is also taking an effect on this moon as well. And what does Pluto do? This is kind of getting into that Scorpio hidden nature, that block I was talking about, because Pluto is going to suppress the feeling. It's going to put it underneath, and it's also going to like really crank up the volume. So Pluto is where we get like this possessiveness, this obsessive, this trying to control, this trying to manipulate, this power. Maybe it's power hungry, maybe it's power grasping, maybe it's just powerless, right? Or feeling a powerlessness. Pluto is ruling over this Scorpio moon, and now the moon has this energy cranked up. This is why Scorpios have that stereotype to be kind of these power obsessive, possessive people that go after things with a lot of drive. That's no hate to any of you Scorpios out here. Of course, it's what makes you so gosh darn motivational, frankly, and also really, really deep, powerful people. But with that comes this awareness that Pluto is running this from an air perspective. So now we have that sort of dominating the mind, because that's what air rules over. Oh my gosh, I feel like I've just covered so much in just the last couple minutes between all the different elements, all the different planetary rulers. But what is it really coming back to? That this Earth Sun opposing, so coming through in relationship to this water moon, is being primarily fueled by fire, fueled by an individual passion, and air, this really transformational position of Pluto in Aquarius. So all the elements are represented here, which means we're going to probably get all shades of different emotions coming at us. So if this feels like a really volatile time, that might be the case. But maybe within this, there is some glimmer of hope that you might be feeling, where you actually see a direction forward now. You feel those engines propulsing underneath you. You are headed in a new direction because you have all of this energy propelling you forward. And again, we're going to meet up with this in some form of relationship because it's an opposition. So this might be coming to you, say, if you're living out the sun's archetype, you're trying to cultivate beauty, you're trying to cultivate security, you're trying to find your groundedness, you're feeling really comfortable, or you're feeling like, okay, I'm making consistent steps toward this bigger goal I have. And the moon is going to come in with this very powerful presence, maybe a really emotional presence that's projecting onto things. And it says, I need to be myself. I need to claim my power back. I need to assert control over my situation because I do not feel secure, right? Or I need more security. Maybe I need more authority. Maybe I need more ability to make my demands met, right? And so you might be coming across that and be like, whoa, that's really, really threatening to me, frankly, or that could feel really affronting. But recognizing that like this person is driven by a need, by a core individual desire to like set themselves apart from everything. And maybe, just maybe, because we have this trine operating under the surface, it actually helps you to help them. It may actually come in favor for you. What I really like about this moon is that that trine is at the undercurrent of what's going on. This could also play out in a different way where maybe you have had to bottle up your emotions for too long. You've had a lot going on, maybe in your mind, and it just feels like too much to bear right now. So this moon has been sort of bubbling up like a volcano and is ready to burst, right? Because everybody around you is just in this plotting, stuck place. And you're like, I'm ready to jump out of my skin. I'm ready. I'm restless. I'm ready to like find a different solution, find a way forward that feels like it's actually an acknowledgement of this depth that I'm feeling of emotion, of experience. And nobody seems to be really seeing that or recognizing that. Everybody's just kind of living in this like default surface mode, and no one sees, no one experiences, because the sun in Taurus is pretty comfortable doing the status quo, doing whatever it is it's doing. And I'm coming in here with a lot that I'm trying to set in motion. So two really important aspects to this moon I want to also bring up. First of all, here's our sun down here next to Uranus. Uranus is spending its last few weeks in the sign of Taurus. It's been here consistently since 2019. It's going to move into Gemini in July, early July, which is going to really shift the tone of Uranus's expression. I'm so excited for that, and also so like anxious for that, frankly, which is a very Gemini feeling to have about anything. So any of my early Gemini placements, you might already be feeling this Uranus energy creeping up, sort of feeling like, I don't know, like you're getting charged with electricity in your body and it's hard to stay still. But Taurus is still where Uranus is at. And if we look, we are just 4 degrees away from the sun. So what am I seeing here? This full moon has the potential to have sort of an explosive nature to it. Now, I don't want you all to be concerned that something's literally going to explode, but I also don't want to say that that's not going to happen. You might see that out in the news. You might have something burst, pop, shake up, break up, right? Like this can be earth-shattering energy. And what's trying to happen with this, you always have to remember, is that Uranus seeks to liberate. So if something is trying to break open, break free, break through, what is being liberated here? Maybe it's just quite honestly a form of pressure. Maybe it's literally the Earth's pressure and there's an earthquake that occurs. Hui. Please stay safe out there. My goodness. But because this full moon is happening with Taurus energy so close to Uranus, I am definitely anticipating some form of news about some kind of shakedown, breakup, surprise, shock, tremor, that kind of motion and energy. And what it might come in the form as is this sun coming into terms with Uranus, experiencing a total surprise. So maybe this moon comes in and is a total shock. I had no idea you were feeling that way. I didn't realize that you felt like your power was being taken away from you. I did not know that that was something that you wanted, and now you're going after it, and it feels rather shocking to me, like it's shaking up my foundations. If you're standing in the moon's position, maybe you're coming into terms with, okay, I have to say something, do something, change something that is really going to disturb the peace here, and I've had enough. I'm ready to do this. Or these people need to be woken up. This needs to change because they've all been operating sort of Taurus out in the field in the grass, just too comfortable and in this point of stasis. And it could feel really daunting to express those feelings, get vulnerable, get out in the open, and break up what has been going on. You may, again, feel this on a level of seeing this play out in front of you, and then you're standing as witness. Maybe you're somebody who has to be the go-between here. Maybe you're somebody that is going to side with one over the other, and then suddenly now you have a breakup of a friendship or a relationship, right? So this all could be playing out either to you or out there. What I want to remind everybody is as above, so below, as within, so without, as the universe, so the soul. If this is happening outside of you, this might be a reflection of something going on deeper in your soul. So what are you trying to liberate yourself from? What kind of restless energy is trying to break out and make itself known and powerful, claiming its power back? What part of your individual spirit, your individual fire might have been feeling suppressed lately, and you're ready to let that out and be honest and open and take a risk here, because that is what's aching to come out. And not only is it aching to come out, it's supported with this Venus here. We even have Neptune pretty close by in Aries, making this gorgeous trine to Mars, which is going to last for the next couple of weeks. We have this really nice support system of fire fueling Who are you? What is it you are here to birth, to create, to make happen? You are capable of the transformation it takes, but it's going to mean that there's going to be some surprises and shocks, maybe to others, maybe even to yourself. It's time to shake it up. It's time to make a change. The full moon is about an illumination, right? The sun is fully illuminating the moon's glow. So what raw primal urge inside of you is dying to get out of there and break free? Let the animal loose and go. That is so much of this. And if that means you're taking a new approach where maybe you're laser focused in on something that might feel really different for other people, might mean you have to say no to certain things in order to get that focus back. Don't be afraid to take that risk. It's worth it. This full moon is inviting you into that process, inviting you into that internal transformation it's going to take to get your emotions to support you in that venture. One last thing I want to mention about this full moon that I love. We have the moon here, and it's in a trine at the exact point of this full moon to the North Node and to Saturn. So what does that mean? Not the easiest, honestly. Although it's a trine, right? We have a lot of water energy in support of each other. When I think about the North Node, I'm really thinking, what's my keyword here? Is like an uncomfortable place that is for growth. So out of your comfort zone is really what the North Node invites you. There's an element of this North Node in Pisces that is asking you to surrender control as well. Realizing that if you're going to take this step, if you're going to take this stance, if you're going to act on this or respond to this, that you have to surrender controlling all the other things outside of you that you don't have control over. Ultimately, it's going to take this leap of faith to move forward. What is it that is within your control, and what is it that you need to let go of in order to progress? Also, with Saturn in Pisces, another really great reminder of that surrender. Saturn is nearing the very last, look at this, 28 degrees, 58 minutes. It's just about to move into that final degree of the entire zodiac sign before Saturn is reborn in Aries on May 25th. Oh, okay, let's add another layer to this, right? But Saturn entering Aries is no small thing. It's going to be conjunct Neptune all through the summer in Aries. This is a huge pivotal shift happening, and we're kind of getting this glimpse into what that last step is going to take. Like, we are standing on the edge of our cliff here, whatever your cliff might be, right? Internally, externally, if it's a relationship, if it's a friendship, if it's a community you're part of, if it's a sibling or a parent or a child or something, there might feel like you are on the edge of a precipice. And this full moon might just light that final step you have to take that leap of faith. And Saturn says, you're going to have to work hard for this. You're going to have to accept and letting go of things and accept goodbyes, because as it leaves Pisces, entering Aries, it's going to be at that final degree for the next couple of weeks. And so it's going to challenge us of, what are you still putting in your way? What are the blockages you are still setting in front of you, saying, I can't do this. I'm not ready for this. I have to over manipulate and control, and it's not time yet. Saturn invites you to say, actually, this is self-sabotage. I'm getting in my own way. I'm not acting on behalf of my best self. I'm not acting with an authority or an ownership of what I am responsible for. Ugh, so many layers to this, my God. What I like about this trine is that the moon is kind of illuminating, like, okay, if I make this choice, if I make this step, if I take this leap, this is the long term I'm committing to. And maybe even if it feels scary, if it feels like letting go of the safety net or the safety rail, even if it feels like you don't know where it's going to end up and it could ruin your life, some part of that commitment might still feel like what you want. It might still be within reach here. I would recommend take it. If you feel ready, if you feel up for it, if you see that path forward, if you're letting that inner fire guide you, take it and don't squash and suppress whatever that feeling is. It's aching to be let go. And yes, it might cause a disharmony. It might cause a shakeup, but it is ultimately here to liberate you. If you're standing in the sun's expression, you're seeing this play out in front of you, I encourage you, like if you're not feeling, I don't feel like I'm on the edge of a cliff, Cawnawyn, I don't feel like I'm ready to make all these changes, I would like to just chill out for a second. I want to encourage you that if you do see this play out in front of you with somebody that you know, maybe have a little grace for them and maybe recognize it probably took a lot to get to this point. They've had to simmer on this for a while. There might be a lot more to the story than you really recognize. So reserve judgment here. Try to allow them the safe space to experiment with this new idea, with this new passion, with this new focus. Leave the space for them and try to hold that grace for if they stumble and fall. How could you be somebody who provides the stability, provides the love for them, provides a safe, grounded position, and maybe can hold their hand through that darkness of the unknown? How could you maybe personify that archetype? Oh, the Scorpio full moon is always going to be powerful, and this one is really, really pivotal. That Uranus just is crazy. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this forecast and learned something and maybe got some insight on how to read a chart. If you have any questions, of course, please put them in the chat below. If you're interested in booking a reading with me, I do have an open calendar. There are some small openings here and there. And then also, if you want something sooner, I do have a recorded option. So you can book a recorded reading with me and you receive it in your inbox within 72 hours. And I can answer a question or even do like a solar return or a chart reading for you if you are interested. Be sure to check out my forecast on Bonfire Babble podcast. I do the zodiacal season every month, and we talk about all the different transits coming up and how to incorporate them magically into your practice if you have that, or just what to look out for on your calendar up ahead. If you'd like these videos to come straight to your inbox once I release them for the full moon, as well as my astrology messages for each of the Sabbats of the year, please be sure to sign up for my Blue Hour newsletter, where I send all of my latest updates to your inbox directly. This is a totally free newsletter. It's just a way to stay in touch with everything that I am creating. And oh my gosh, I have so much fun stuff in the works for 2025. Lots more music coming your way, as well as future projects, and hopefully some behind the scenes on that music and astrology coming up soon. I'll see you on the next forecast for the full moon in Sagittarius in June. And oh my gosh, we have so many major transits. I might be coming out with more transit videos, honestly, because it's going to be a crazy summer, guys. I'm really excited and just very motivated to get more astrology to you. So I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I wish you a very blessed full moon and month ahead. Blessed be.